Hi folks, it's Dr. E and I'm here with what I hope is just a quick kind of video update for week 8. I've been receiving quite a few questions about the discussion post and some inquiries about the written reflection, so just going to offer some explanation here. I apologize for the confusion, but hopefully having me walk through some of this instead of typing up a really long announcement is going to be a bit more helpful. So if we go to our discussion assignment here, we're using Amy Choi's article, What Americans Can Learn from Other Food Cultures, and we're taking the ideas within evaluating sources, that's a chapter, and we're going to then apply those to Choi's article. Okay, so the first thing to consider is the title. What about the title is relevant to our topic? We always want to think about how the title is giving us information about the topic, right? What does the title mean? Because a lot of times the title is chosen very, very intentionally, right? Who is the author? We know the author is Choi, but we want to do just a quick search on her. And if you find information that you quote or utilize, copy or paste the web link. We don't need a full-on citation for that kind of information. And this just falls in line with us really wanting to do a little bit of digging, because a lot of times there's misinformation out there. There's information on sites or sources that look reliable, but once you start digging a little bit, then it becomes clear that there are hidden agendas within those online sources, that kind of thing. So if we do a little bit of digging, that can help us make sure that the sources we are evaluating are reliable. All right, so after finding out about Choi, who's the publisher of this specific article? Okay, so how this article appears on the internet, we've seen it in a particular format. Who is publishing that article? And is this text cited in other works? I think this is the one that's giving most folks a bit of frustration, which is understandable. So what I'm going to do is take some of this information and apply it to Lenny Irvin's article. Remember, we read this towards the beginning of the semester. And so if we were looking at our questions, what is the title? Okay, so we need to really think about how this title is related to the overall ideas that Irvin is sharing, right? Who is the author? So instead of just seeing a name on a page, we want to do a little bit of searching, and that means we can go to, do a quick Google search. Irvin is at the Alamo Community College's district. You can find lots of information, and this just helps us understand this is somebody with experience who is sharing that experience, those ideas, that information. It's not some random person off the street who's talking about what academic writing is. So we want to have a level of reliability there. We want to know that this is a person who is speaking from experience, not just making stuff up, right? Misinformation. Okay, so if we go back, and so if I utilize that information on the Alamo College's website here, then I would just copy and paste the URL and just say, at the Alamo College's district San Antonio College website, I found this information, and then you can copy and paste the link. Who's the publisher of this article? So if we go back to Irvin's article, we have all the publisher information at the beginning. Sometimes it comes at the end, or sometimes it's just a website that appears at the bottom of the page that you have to go and look up, right? So for our purposes here, Writing Spaces is the organization that publishes these essays. These are where the WAC Clearinghouse is just a collection of different kinds of writings. The press that publishes the print version is Parlor Press. So again, you have to kind of decipher some of this information. But if I go to the Writing Spaces website, it's not going to immediately give me the information that I may need. So I want to look around and say, well, who is this, organization? A lot of times that can be found in the About area. And sometimes you're not going to find much in the About area, but it behooves us to take the time to look, right? Because typically with organizations or websites or sources that we're using that are reliable, there is some of that about information because they are showing that they have these kinds of credentials, right? So if you look at the About section, the masthead, that's just a publishing term. So if you look at the masthead, you'll see that we have managing editors, we have professors, and so this gives us a really good idea of the people involved in creating these publications. Again, these are named people. These are people who have particular experience. You'll see that there are web links to some of their biographies. So we get a sense of who runs this organization, how trustworthy are they, how experienced are they in the field that they are publishing about, right? So that's just something to keep in mind. And if you go to, excuse me, sorry, y'all, the Writing Spaces main page, then you get a bit more of that about. So again, it requires a little bit of work because oftentimes it's just too easy to get information on the internet because you click on something, you find an answer, great. But where's that answer coming from originally? Whose information is it? Is anybody benefiting from these answers? We have to do a little bit of that due diligence when it comes to, using sources in our academic writing. All right, if we go back, excuse me. So we got the publisher. Now this is where, I'm going to pause to cough, hold on. So sorry. This is where I think a lot of us are getting a little bit tripped up, and that's understandable. So what we want to do is actually go to Google Scholar. And so if you just type in Google Scholar in your search bar, it will take you, the first link is going to be scholar.google.com. And if you're not familiar with this, this is a really good tool to have at your disposal when it comes to academia and academic research in the future. So it just starts with a very basic search bar. So I'm going to type in, I've already typed it in. So you can see that I typed in the title in quotation marks, right? Because I want to limit the search to just this title. The first thing that comes up is the article, right? So we don't necessarily, we want to know who else has utilized Irvin in their writing. Meaning, we can get a sense of how reliable these sources are by how many other people in the academic world or in publishing have used this work. So who has used Choi's work to support their own ideas? We're looking at Irvin. Who has used Irvin? Because in academia, it's about having those sources that support your ideas, right? That's what our works cited are. So this is essentially a generator that is going through and looking through all the works cited or all these different published articles and trying to find Lenny Irvin in the title of this text, right? So it's not showing up here, but we need to click See All Results. Oh my gosh. Okay, so we got a lot going on here, right? You don't need to list all of it. We just want to kind of get a sense of, okay, how is this being used in other areas? So pause for coughing. Okay, sorry about that. So I'm just going to scroll down and look at Shaping Students' Writing Skills, the study of fundamental aspects in mastering academic writing. So if you click on this, with Google Scholar, it will take you, hopefully, eventually, to something that's, so you see the list of references. If you scroll down, oh, there's Lenny Irvin, right? So you're seeing that it's utilized in other locations. So I'm going to click on Errors and Mistakes in Writing. And it'll eventually come up. I'll pause while it comes up. Okay, I can't handle this. We're going to have to move on, but you get a sense of Google Scholar's bringing up all those areas where Irvin's writing appears. So if we go back to number 4, is this text cited in other works? Yes. See the chapter explanation for how to find this information in the Is it cited in other works? Originally I put a page number, but I noticed that I uploaded the document that doesn't have page numbers. It's the wrong one. So is it cited in other works? Okay. So that's essentially the work that we're doing just to kind of understand the types of sources that we're utilizing. If you have further questions, please post in the Q&A discussion board area. As for the written reflection this week, we are not revising and updating and editing our original written response assignment. We are just looking at the feedback that I've offered and looking at it through fresh eyes of your own. This is something that you wrote. It's been a little bit of time, so I want you to look over the work that you've done and the feedback you've received and reflect on that. And that's all that you have to do. We're going to work on revisions down the road, but not right now. If you have any questions about that, definitely let me know. I hope this helps, but reach out to me in the Q&A area if not, and good luck this week. Y'all can do it. I know it.